Party 101.9, iHeartRadio. Bobby Simmons is still in the building. Now, that's a classic right there. That joint, that's when we was roller skating. I want action. Come on. Y'all remember when we was roller skating back then? Well, actually, now that we done heard the record, listen to the record, the young lady who voiced on the record, background on the record, was a part of that whole studio band, Orange Crush, if I'm correct. Ladies and gentlemen, the one and only legendary diva herself, Alyson Williams is in the building. Hello, lady.
How you doing, Bobby?
I'm all right. You know, we were just listening to that accent. That was, you gotta just tell us, that was the very beginning stages of 80, maybe 80, 81. And that actually was a studio band, actually, of all you cats. Tell us a little bit about the beginning of that time.
Well, you know, it was funny. Curtis Blow, who the Orange Crush band was set up for Curtis Blow. He was the first rapper, not only the father of rap, or the king of rap, as they call him, but he was the first one to have a live band.
Right.
Everybody else had their DJs. He had the DJ. He had the live band. Right. So they were pushing him in major directions. You remember the movie Crush Groove, which is a classic. You know, they had him doing movies, and, you know, all kinds of things like that, and you know, touring with the top acts of the day and what have you. So for him to have a band was like a big deal. He took me in the studio and they were trying to create this song, and I was actually supposed to do the background, but Larry Smith said, I'm tired of dealing with the young lady that's behind the mic right now. We need to let Alyson in there and let her see if she can do it.
Right.
It's history. You know, we cut the music, and from that point on, I became Curtis's hook girl, and that led to things like basketball.
Right. Yes.
All of that.
Yeah.
Forlorn Hills version. Fat Boys Are Back. Rapid Rodney Dangerfield. You Gotta Believe. Just a plethora of great hip hop. Before we had the word hip hop in our vernacular.
Right.
Music that laid the foundation and changed the game. And I'm proud to say that I was a part of that as a singer, as a contractor, and just, laying down the foundation.
Yeah, now actually, but beside doing that, you got a great body of work, of background work, not just with rappers, but you work with a lot of great artists, done background work on records, certain artists. Please give us a little bit about your background, people that you work with, songs that, like you just mentioned, Fat Boy you sang on, but you were more than just working with hip-hop artists.
The thing is that I had already been doing, singing in the jazz genre, R&B genre. Jazz is what I was raised on. So, what was beautiful about the rap thing was that most of the mainstream singers that were doing other artists and whatever, they wouldn't do it.
Right.
Was going to be, well, what is this? And we see that it's not only a music but a culture. But it led me to do things like Melba Moore, Bobby Brown, Curtis Hairston. I've worked with live acts, Nick Ashton and Valerie Simpson.
Right.
Shaka Khan. Just so many different people that I've had an opportunity to record with and to appear with on stage. So, whether it's backing or whether it's sharing the stage, and collaborating, it's been a great ride and a great journey.
Right, and you come from a background where singers back then actually put in their dues. You had to come across, like you just mentioned, Shaka Khan, a lot of other great artists who were already ahead of the game, and it was like, well, you're walking in this. Any one of the stories, give me an example of, at that time as being a background vocalist, how hard was it for you from coming from behind there to getting yourself into front of being like the artist that you are today?
Well, like I said, starting doing, independent projects and then doing the rap things, people will there's always going to be somebody who's been there before you. Who's doing a little bit better, who's laid the foundation, they paid their dues, and they're moving forward. So now you have to start at your point on your get on your mark, as we used to say, get on your knees, get ready to sneeze. To start that good work. So it was just a matter of, like I said, I auditioned for a group called High Fashion.
Right.
And that was on the Capitol label. It was me, Meli'sa Morgan, and a gentleman out of Detroit named Eric McClintock. And so I got the job, and the day I got the job, they said, well, how would you like to go and tonight, after this evening, come and sing background for Melba Moore? That was a big deal for me.
Right, yes.
That would be wonderful. And then I went into the ladies' lounge, and I cut a fool. I was like, you know, Melba Moore had hits on the radio. She was on Broadway. She had a television show with Clifton Davis. This was major to be able to sing, you know, for this particular artist. And I'm happy to say that I still have a relationship with Auntie Melba till today.
Yes.
But you know, it was a matter of going in, being confident. There were always girls that came in. There were a lot of jingle singers that were doing sessions, and they were good singers that could also read music. So you putting the Aretha Franklin riff in front of them and note it out in musical notation, and they could sing it. But could they sing it from their heart?
Right.
The difference.
Exactly. Yes.
There were a lot of people who had great ears, but not maybe a good, you know, actual facility in the instrument. So you had to just know what it was you had, and you had to be tenacious. You had to, you know, really knock on doors and make people take notice. And I think that's what it is. I also had a great arsenal of people around me. There was once a company called AW Squared. AW Squared was Alyson Williams and Audrey Wheeler. Now, people know Audrey Wheeler from being one of the lead singers from Unlimited Touch. Yes. She's sung for everyone. She was Freddie Jackson's one of his main singers. You can hear her loud and clear, even in the background, her sound and on all of the Freddie stuff. She now is with Shaka Khan. Whenever we get back to being in a show with Shaka, and she is married to Will Downing. Yes. So, you know, I'm talking about that caliber, that Lisa Fisher, that Cindy Mizell, that Fonda Ray, that Jocelyn Brown. All of these were the folks I was able to reach into my phone and say, yo, we got a session, can you come? And everybody did. Right, exactly. So that also led to people knowing that, you know, the affiliation and the association with great singers and being able to come in, do the work, and do it well made me sought after. All right, yeah, and you know, and after that, coming through the fire of all of that, here comes the 80s. You know, like you said, you singing back up with Curtis Blow and them, with Orange Crush Project. Tell us about the connection. How did you get the connection with Russell Simmons? Because through that, you also got yourself a deal through Russell Simmons' Def Jam Company. Tell us about the connection of you and Russell Simmons. How did that come about? Well, you know, I was at City College doing my college thing. And I ran into Curtis Blow, and I was apparently handing out flyers for something I was doing. And we had a conversation. And in that conversation, we realized that we had known each other from a distance as children, because I did a lot of growing up in his neighborhood. I didn't live in the neighborhood, but I had a nana in the neighborhood. So you know, your nana and you play with the kids in that neighborhood, but it's their hood. Right. That connection. And Curtis said something that I'll never forget. He said, oh, you know what? Most people, when they meet me, because now he's Curtis Blow at this time, you know what I mean? At the height of his career, he said, most of the time when people meet me, they want something from me. He said, anytime I encounter you, you're trying to get me to come and support you, but you don't need anything from me. You're already doing what you need to do, and I like that. And so we began to talk, and what Curtis didn't know was that he had an adult following who understood his music and was down with this new, you know, surgence of music. So I began to take him to the places that I frequented, which were like the Cellar, McKell's, Sweetwater's, you know, to the Grown and Sexy, and he took me to the Disco Fever. And that's how I met KRS-One and Kool Herc and all of that, and Love Buck Starsky and Hollywood and all those. Being from Harlem, these were the circle of people. I met Russell because Curtis was being managed by Russell. Right. Everywhere Curtis went, he'd grab me and take me, and then Russell would grab both of us and take us wherever we were going. Most of the time it was to take a test press record straight from the studio to the DJ at the Diplomat Hotel where they'd be spinning, and they'd throw it on, and if the crowd went wild, and they usually did, then we knew we had a hit. Right. That is how I met Russell. And Russell, even with having the vision of I'm going to put together the dopest, deafest, must underground label, and it's going to be for the underground cult, acts and yada, yada, yada. He had this vision for putting it together, and he said it every day. 25, 50 times a day. And that's how Def Jam was born. But he also came up, like a lot of us, in his house or in his apartment, in his house for him in Queens, with a basement, and they gave parties on the weekends, and your friends gave blue light, red light parties,
Right.
And so he listened to the Dramatics, and he listened to Gladys Knight, and he listened to Motown, and they listened to, all the good bands with the good singers. And when he decided not only he was going to have the rap label, but he was going to put a R&B division together, that's where I came in.
Oh, okay.
He saw myself and Chuck Stanley and Tayshaun and Orange Juice Jones. We were the original on a label called Original Black Records, OBR.
Yes.
Signed under Def Jam, which was signed under Columbia.
Yes.
And Sony Music. So he wanted to recreate that. He wanted to leave a piece of his legacy through us, like giving the next generation some good, solid R&B.
Right. Yeah.
Feel now, I can't say that you feel this way, but people have been telling me they're feeling like they're not getting their full share or their good feed of R&B.
Right. Yeah.
So we were trying to make sure that wasn't happening back then. We wanted to make sure we kept living in that legacy of, we didn't have to recreate the wheel. We weren't trying to make Motown records or make Stax records. We were trying to make records of that same quality.
Exactly.
To the new generation.
Yeah, and you fit perfect because actually your first single that was released was with a good friend of both of ours, Nikki D, who performed on the record with you. And so you had a combination of both of hip hop and R&B. But what people most remember you by is your classic, I'm talking about rest in peace, Vaughn Harper, ballad song that blended with any R&B song across the state. We talking about Just Call My Name. Yes.
I'm glad you brought up Vaughn Harper.
Yes.
Those who don't know Art from the New York tri-state area and beyond, that he's a veteran of the Quiet Storm, and that velvet voice was everything.
Yes.
And he was just that's a whole nother storyline. But I can tell you that we did things very grassroots. We started the label, and we did things for ourselves. We picked our colors, we picked our logos. We really developed Def Jam from the ground up. We had a test press. People don't know what a test press is, but it's the record, and we took it to Vaughn, to the station. Vaughn liked it so much. He said, "I'm not giving it back to you, Russell. I'm keeping the test press." Now, the thing that makes that odd is this is November. We know that within the industry in November, they freeze the playlist.
Right.
For Thanksgiving or around there. And no new music gets in unless you are Quincy Jones, Michael Jackson, or somebody on that level. Or on that level.
Yeah.
And if not, they're going straight to Nat King Cole and Santa Baby.
Right.
That's what's getting ready to happen. He started playing Just Call My Name in his rotation as if it were in the rotation.
Right.
People were going to the record store. There's some people who might not remember what record stores. We had record stores, y'all. Stores that actually sold records, not Walmart, not Target. That are stores that happen to sell records, but
that's true.
But people were going and they were saying, "Oh, I'm buying my Christmas gifts. I'm buying my stocking stuffers. I'm getting my music together for the Christmas party. Do y'all have this record that goes like, ever had all that?" And people, because the only place you could hear it was on the Quiet Storm.
Yes.
We didn't release that record until January. We had Sleep Talk. We had My Love Is Raw with Nikki D, which were, like you said, R&B, hip hop, almost New Jack Swing kind of things.
Right.
And it's being played and nobody can get it.
Right.
So when I finally come out, people are saying to me, "Oh, you covered that song, Just Call My Name." No, I'm the original artist. And just as a sidebar, I want to share with your audience, I am celebrating 30 years.
Yes.
Just Call My Name is at least 30 years ago. We don't know where the time went. I don't really remember where I was on the 25th anniversary or the 20th anniversary. So I have to slow it down And with the help of COVID, I did.
Oh, yeah.
Already.
But the beautiful thing about that is that with that story with Von Harper is that back then DJs embraced the music, and they were the ones who were helping to break ground new music. When I heard I was going to have Alyson Williams on my show, I said, we're going to talk about this new song you got out now, which is called Summer Nights in Harlem, from, like you said, where you born and bred it from. Tell us about this new song. Now, actually, we're going to set everybody up because they're going to hear it too. That we don't want anybody to think like this is kind of in the vein of what you have been doing. It's really more on the jazz side. Tell us a little bit about the song and why you decided to drop your single in this route, meaning in the jazz field, than going after what everybody else is going after.
Because it's time. I've been doing this a long time. If you can think about Just Call My Name celebrating 30 years.
Yes.
Played across the country and around the world. How long have I been doing this?
Right.
I've been doing it a long time. So it was time for me to go back to my roots, and my roots are jazz. My father had a 21-piece swing band from the time I can remember music. So that type of music is what I was raised on. His running buddies were like Clark Terry and Dizzy Gillespie and Louis Armstrong. Those were the horn dudes,
Right.
And they were great drummers and great bassists, and he was a jazz musician. That's what he did. So that's the music I came up with, just like some of my contemporaries and my peers came up in gospel. They came up in the church. I didn't come up in the church.
Right.
And then I discovered all the other genres like R&B and gospel and house and pop. I discovered those later, but the music that was predominantly played in the house was jazz, all forms of jazz.
Okay.
And then the theater and legitimate, other legit, what they call legit music, or, classic American songbook and all of that kind of stuff. So it was time for me to go back to the music that I love the most. I'm not taking anything away from R&B, because R&B allowed me to, I'm a jazz singer that was signed to a rap label and given an R&B contract.
Right.
And with every place I've walked, I feel like the Forrest Gump of what I do. You know what I'm saying? I've been places I never would have even expected to be doing what I do. So it was time for me to get ready to do the thing that you know the most about and that you love the most and that you feel that comfort zone. It's like a hug.
Right.
So a gentleman by the name of Maurice Lynch came and found me at a gig, and he said, my cousin has worked with you as a stage manager. His name is Mike Lynch. He's in Detroit. He said, if you need to find somebody to sing some jazz songs, you got to find Alyson Williams. And he found me, and he presented me with these works that are actually slated for a stage review that he's doing, a stage, musical review. And I said, listen, I love your songs, and I will do these songs, but you must allow me to record them for myself. I need them to have another life. I need to record them for myself. And he agreed. So we collaborated as co-producers. He brought the music, and I brought the clientele. So we have Christian McBride, Christian Sands, Ulysses Owens, Ron Blake, Kirk Whalum, Ray Chu.
Wow. Ray Chu.
Greg, we have an all-star cast of jazz, people from jazz, R&B, and beyond working on this music. And I know that it is genre specific, but my fan base are very diverse.
Right, no, it is. And
so when they hear it, they're not gonna go, oh, it's not a ballad. Oh, I can't two-step to that. Oh, I can't. They're gonna go, ooh, this is something different, and something that I wanted to do it in the tradition of the Nancy Wilsons that knew me and loved me and loved on me and mentored me. The Carmen McRae's, the Ella Fitzgeralds. I wanted to put some of that music into the world with my voice. Right. That's what my voice is really tailored for.
Yeah, but the great thing about that is that people have to look at too. You also, by doing that and infusing all of that when you got signed to Def Jam, this is how the doors open for the Jill Scotts and the Erykah Badu's. You know, you were the one who actually formed that of saying, well, I was a chick, I'm a jazz singer, but I was able to conquer R&B and hip hop, but I still stay with my roots in jazz. And that's what the song Summer Nights in Harlem is all about. And actually, I'm a jazz lover because I love jazz too myself. You mentioned some of the greats, Nancy Wilson. I love when Natalie Cole was doing it. I love when, a lot of great people has done it. And hearing you do it, continuing to do it is fantastic. Now, I guess because what we're going through right now in the pandemic, but have you still been traveling? Are you going to continue to travel? Because we want to see and hear you perform this album, anything virtual. What's happening, Alyson? Because we need you.
This is is what I'm thinking. You know, I think that for a minute there's been a void for female vocalists that sing between the jazz and R&B format, smooth jazz. You had, like you mentioned, Natalie Cole and people like Phyllis Hyman and so on and so forth. And I know that I fit within there.
Right, right.
You know, it's just a matter of time before I could put myself in a place where I could be lifted to the next level of people being able to see the whole picture and the diversity. Last year, I traveled extensively with Christian McBride with an organization called the Christian McBride Situation.
Okay.
And Patrice Rushen, Ron Blake on sax, and two incredible turntablists, DJ Logic and DJ Jai Sundance.
There you go, Logic.
Yeah. Okay, so it was a very eclectic R&B, soul, jazz, gospel fusion of music. You know, with turntables as our backbeat. So we had a chance to do a lot. Then here came COVID. And, you know, I had to go through it just like so many of my my comrades are as an entertainer. Our industry, if you're not in film and television, it's almost just plain shut down.
Right, exactly.
Very difficult. So in this box is where we are. I've been doing some virtual performances, pre-recorded, live stream, and I will continue to do that. I've been lucky and have had the opportunity to do some traveling, but doing it in the safest way. And I promise you, I'm flying on faith, and I follow my gut. I've been asked to do certain things, and if I just didn't felt like the right thing to do, or the time to be out, or to be in an airport, or anything like that, just didn't do it.
Exactly. Yeah.
And still found that whatever my needs were, they were met. And so, like I said, I fly by faith. Right now, with what we're seeing in resurgence in numbers across the country, I'm not feeling like a travel day, you know. And so I'm trying to stay put and keep my feet on the ground and stay off to myself, do my little self quarantining and you know, self-sequestering, shelter at home, whatever you want to call it. And of course, safe distancing when I am out in public. I'm not in a rush. I'm not in a rush to get in front of I want to be with live musicians in front of an audience, but I'm never going to be able to sing with a mask on.
Right. No, exactly. No.
You know, so I want to be safe, and I want other people to be safe. You know, so it's absolutely paramount that we do the things we need to do. So it's a weird time. I can't wait until this is over and we get to whatever the new normal is. I am so blessed that even in the midst of a pandemic, I've continued to be able to be a creative.
Right.
I've got a project with Najee coming out. I've got, like I said, some smooth jazz of my own. But the beauty of independent is that you get to meet your audience where they are, and you don't get caught in that middle where, oh, well, we'll get around to doing this. We don't want to confuse the audience. Oh, we'll get around to this when your next budget comes away. I don't have to hear any of that.
Right, that's one of the great things about,
figure out how to do it and fund it, and then get it out, and then let the people say thank you and support.
Once again, ladies and gentlemen, the one and only Alyson Williams.
Alyson Williams Music, Twitter, all of that.
There you go. Alyson Williams, we'll be back.